Welcome back everybody, I am Carter Sandvin and this is the channel for Sandbox Illustration. So today I have a very big project and it is going to be extremely fun. So if you look up on the screen right here, these 7 other handsome bastards, those are all good friends of mine. Just a group that I've hung out with for years at this point. It's been about, 5 years I'd say. And I was thinking these guys deserve good homage. Homage? Homage. It's homage.
Homage.
Praise. Let's go with that. So, I was thinking of doing a sketch of my boys here. So as you can see, I've just got all their faces right up here. And this one was actually quite fun because I asked the guys what the sketch should be. Like, I wanted their prompts. And in fact, I think I'm actually going to do videos in the future just like that, some of them, because getting prompts from other people on what my sketches should be was extremely exciting, because I'm not stuck within my own, let's say, creative echo chamber. You know, hearing other ideas that people have, it was very fun to do that. So we have this page right here for one of the sketches. Today I'm going to be doing 2 sketches. And this first one, my friend Madesi gave me the idea of doing an album cover, like making us almost like a music group, and then doing a cover for our album. So the band is called The Basement Dwellers, and the album is called Equilibrium, but equal as in E-Q-U-A-L, not E-Q-U-I-L. Just for context, Basement Dwellers, that just refers to the group itself. We always either hung out in one of our friends' basements, or Trevor actually used to be part of an improv troupe back a few years, and it was called The Basement, and we would always go hang out there. So the basement just kind of became a big thing for us. So I actually wanted this first drawing for them to be inside of a basement, and actually I got the idea from another friend, Isaac, the idea that we would all be a recreation of that picture of dogs playing poker. So I'm recreating that, putting us in a basement. Once I'm done with the drawing, I actually want to crop in at the bottom the explicit content thing, like albums usually have. So this is the first sketch that we're going to do. The second one that we are going to do, I actually got this idea from Trevor to recreate the group as a pantheon because I wanted the powers of the gods to be based off of us. It's like a completely unique lineup of gods. You don't see the typical of like, oh, you know, love and then war and there's an all-father and things like that. You don't see that here. You've got unique ones. And by the way, again, Trevor gave me the ideas for all of these, so major props to him on that. But Eric is the god of fire. Madesi is the god of beauty. I am the god of creation. JJ is the god of music. Holden is the god of good omens. Trevor is the god of wisdom. Logan is the god of like debauchery or wickedness. And then Isaac is the god of strength. So I guess you could say that Trevor kind of takes the mantle of Allfather because he's the god of wisdom. He's the wise, sage, older guy. And then you would have Logan kind of playing the role of the antagonist of the entire pantheon. And again, I love that you see a lineup here with this that you don't see with any other stories, you know? There's not a god of, like I said, there's not a god of war, there's not a god of love, there's not a god of the sun, nothing like that. You get a completely unique one here because it's based off of all of our personalities. So these are some of the faces that I did drawings of for all of this. And then also I got the idea from Trevor to have everybody covered in some type of unique tattoo. And I loved this design up here, if you guys can see it. I loved this design for tattoos. So then down here I've got these mannequin diagrams where instead of having designs for clothing, these are actually the patterns of tattoos that these guys are going to have. So all of the black lines that you see, that's where you're going to see these tattoos at. And then on the next page, I've actually got their outfit choices right there. And then of course you've got their entire lineup. I wanted to put them in like an underground temple because, again, going back to the basement thing, I'm going to refer to this pantheon as the gods of the Golden Cave, which, oh my fucking god, that's fucking awesome. I am just so excited to do these sketches. They are gonna be so fucking fun to do. I'm not sure what else really needs to be said here. We are just gonna get into drawing the basement dwellers and the gods of the Golden Cave. Let's get fucking started. Oh, I'm done dying. Jesus. Oh, you guys. This whole project is finally done. We finished the Basement Dwellers. So just to go over who's in it again, you got yours truly, Trevor, Eric, or Lottie as we call him, Isaac, JJ, Madesi, Holden, and Logan. Those are all the Basement Dwellers, the wolf pack. This has been such a fucking task to finish this entire project because, it hasn't been a task to finish, it's taken me so long. It's taken me like 2 weeks, I think, to actually get from starting this to finishing it now, because I was so extremely nervous about this. I was terrified about actually doing this project. It just seemed so ambitious that I thought it was just gonna crash and burn. I didn't think it was gonna go well. Because of that, I just, not on purpose, but I just like subconsciously procrastinated because I didn't want, it's not that I didn't want to do it, I was just scared to do it. The first one isn't as bad, it's a simpler piece. It's definitely got character to it, but it's simpler. It's a lot easier to approach. So that one wasn't much of an issue, but the Gods one, Jesus Christ, man. There was just a sense of dread coming over me while I was making this, but I have to say, for the entire thing, I am so happy with it. I'm happy with both of them. They both look awesome. I was going to do voiceovers over this entire project to discuss my thought process, some ideas that I had, some changes I made. I decided not to do that. I think from now on when I do these Let's Draws, I think I'm just going to save that section for after. You know, once I'm actually reviewing the pieces, I'm going to be discussing, you know, why I changed this or why I decided to put that in. When it came to the Gods piece, I didn't record me doing the line work because so much of this was just fine detail that my head was gonna be like right over the piece of paper and I was gonna be blocking the camera. I knew it would have been god-awful to record that. So it just jumps right into the coloring after I sketch it out. Just to discuss some things that I had with this. So composition was really tough at first, trying to figure out how to lay them out. Not the planning, I already had the planning, but actually executing it was really tough, and some characters' figures. And there are some things that look a teensy bit off, but overall, it went off way better than I actually thought it was going to. I actually wanted to talk about the symbol that I had in for the Golden Cave. So I went and asked Trevor, like, if you could describe the dudes in like 1 or 2 words, how would you do it? He said roughly along the lines of like ambition and success, because we've all gone our own ways, we've all taken on huge endeavors in life. We're all just, you know, taking risk, you know, and we're kind of pushing the status quo of the houses that we grew up in, the homes that we grew up in. One thing that I like to do sometimes to make my own symbols, I will find multiple symbols or designs, things like that, that represent one idea, and I'll take multiple ideas and then combine the symbols. So you've got a chevron or an arrow with a line going through it, which represents change. That would be the actual angle right there, and then the entire line, that's for change. And then I had in rebellion, the only symbol that I could find for rebellion was a fist, so I added in this little notch coming off of the arrow to kind of look like the thumb of a fist, you know? The triangle at the bottom, I found like one symbol that they said was like, it was just labeled like ambition icon, something like that, you know, like, you know when you go onto like Getty Images or a bunch of those different like pic websites. That was one that I found and I was like, hey, works for me. So it's a combination of change, rebellion, and ambition, and I thought that was extremely cool. And also, that fits a lot with the theme of gold, because like it shows, you know, we're all taking on extremely like high risk but high reward goals and journeys in our life. So looking at all of this, it's like, it's kind of dark and dismal at first, but then it goes into a bright, glowing gold cave. I love the effects too. You've got Eric's fire coming out of his hands, and then you've got the leaf growing with my character. And then if we look at equilibrium, dude, this is so cool to me. I love that it is an album cover. Just to clarify, it's a recreation of the dogs playing poker. So in the dogs playing poker, you've got like a picture in the background and then a grandfather clock and then all the dogs sitting on the table. And this one, I went with a bunch of different things. Instead of the grandfather clock, it's a cutout of, I think his name is I think I came up with Jeremiah Stone. That's his name. Like one of those like big 80s action actors. So it's like a replacement of David Hasselhoff. And then the picture is like I thought would be a cool thing to show equilibrium in a sense. You know, you've got the smaller ball outweighing the bigger one. And like nothing else in the picture really represents equilibrium with an A, not an I. I thought that would be a nice little Easter egg to put in to actually represent that. I want to discuss the Easter eggs in this. So everything that I customized in this, I want to put into my comics. So the game that's in this is Scumbag Manifesto, which is my comic universe's version of Cards Against Humanity. And then if you look at some of the drinks here, you've got Lush Hard Lemonade, then you've got Dio, which are little like fruit flavored like shot glasses and stuff, and then Kit's Cola. I love doing that with my pieces, and I actually did that with Squad too, you know? All the clothing that they had, like the designs and labels of the clothing, those were customized, and I would like to actually put those into my comics later on. Equilibrium, I'm extremely happy with. One thing that I thought was a really smart move on my part was I actually went in and I designed the logos of everything on their own. I didn't do that with the ink because I was afraid I just wasn't going to get the precision that I would need with my pens. So I went and did it on Photoshop, the design of like the Dio and the Lush and all that. So that one went really well. And the Gods of the Golden Cave. First off, that's fucking amazing. There are some parts of it. One of the biggest struggles with this was trying to figure out color scheme for the characters, trying to make every character have outfits that stood out from each other. I wanted to make sure that the colors for one fit with everybody, but I also wanted to make sure that you didn't see too many overlapping colors, you know? And the only ones that I think have a huge issue would be maybe JJ's God or Jerician and Hadrian. By the way, Hadrian's fucking glowing eyes. Chef's kiss. If you guys noticed when I was doing the tattoos, I changed Hadrian's and I filled in the centers because, I'm just gonna put it bluntly, they looked like nipples. So I changed them. I went and put the lines going inside of them, and then I filled in the color with them as well. So it's like circles, but it's not rings. The toughest one was Lakesh. His color scheme was the hardest because I did his last, and it's kind of hard to come up with colors that are good for debauchery and wickedness, you know? If you guys can't tell, by the way, that's supposed to be tattoos going over his eyes. It's not a mask. It's like a strip of tattoo going over his face. But like I tried to go with some that were like green and yellow for debauchery and wickedness, but they looked dumb, you know? They like the colors just didn't fit. Like I needed a rustic fantasy aesthetic with all of them, and those didn't have it. Like they were like neon greens and they looked like crap. And then also doing those, he looked like Green Arrow because of the tattoo and the hood. He looked like, yeah, so I had to change that. But I'm really happy with how that is. I originally actually had his color scheme on my god, which is what's his name again? Caledon. But he looked like Aquaman. Like he had the orange vest, which by the way, I have an orange vest. And then I went with green pants to represent nature and vegetation. But that combination looked like Aquaman, so I had to change it. So I went with like a more of a sandish color for the pants, and then a brown for the chest. And by the way, he still has green laid throughout, which I think really adds a nice little detail on his. I tried to go much more blue with Jerician because I wanted his to represent sort of serenity, calmness, and all that. So he does have the red shirt, but I actually, if you guys noticed, I changed the color of his pants later on because the color of his pants were actually about the same as Hadrian's. Purple really fits for Hadrian, so I wanted to go much more blue with Jerician. Mantari, the god of beauty. I think it's cool, by the way, that, like, I mean, obviously there's Cupid, but, like, the god of beauty is always a female. But I like that it's a dude this time, which obviously that was all that I had as an option, but it was still a cool play on it, I thought. You know, in terms of lore, one thing that I wanted for the beauty was he's got like extremely blue eyes. Like once you see his eyes, you're like in a trance almost. So that's why the blue in his eyes is like an unnatural blue, and I did that on purpose. By the way, Arcadius, his demon eyes, I toyed around with different colors for the actual eyes. I knew that I was going to go for like black and then the inner eye kind of like a demon, and I was playing around with different colors. You know, I think I went green at one point and then red and then yellow, but then I thought, I was like, dude, how fucking cool would it be if his eyes actually had the color of fire? So around the eyes is a glowing red, and then the reflection is a bright blue, kind of like when kind of like a simmering flame, and then you've got this strong orange surrounded by the yellow inside the actual pupil. And then the rest of the scene, like the cave, it works. It looks like an actual setting. And I gotta say, this is one of my best depictions of a setting so far in my pieces. Like, it actually feels like they're there. Like, the shadows look really good, the lighting works, and you've also got the reflection of the cave behind them, or like the entrance behind them into the golden paradise. That's always how I'm gonna end all these pieces, is just me going, but these I am so happy with. For how nervous I was, it was absolutely worth it. These are some of my favorite pieces so far. Like, they're up there with Arch. I wouldn't change a thing about these, honestly. All of the figures in each of these are as good as they could be. But that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was Carter Sandvin with Sandbox Illustration. Make sure to check in the description for links to more of my content. And then like the video, comment on it, and subscribe for weekly art-related videos. Anyways, have fun, dudes.